So we've been told our whole lives that real men don't cry. But what if it's actually the strongest thing a man could do is feel his emotions? So today we're breaking that myth wide open with Rich Lyons, author of Life is Sales and founder of lifeissales.com and richlyons.com. Through his book and his work, Rich is defining masculinity, redefining it, proving that emotional awareness and vulnerability aren't weaknesses, they're actually superpowers. And what a month to talk about this. It's Movember, and we're really highlighting men's mental health and the importance of looking out for the men out there. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you to Dr. Bradley Nelson and iHeartRadio for your sponsorship. And to our audience, please do not forget to like and subscribe before you leave. It's really great to see you. How's it going?
It's great to see you as well. It's great to be on, so thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks so much for talking about this important topic. So, I want to get started. So, you've worked with so many people in high pressure environments. Why do you think men especially struggle to talk about what they feel?
I just, I mean, some of it, I mean, I'm older, right? I'm 60. I just turned 60 this year. So I think growing up in that generation, like you're supposed to be tough. And that's kind
Mm,
of what you're programmed to be. And for some reason, feelings weren't tough, right? Except maybe anger. And I think it took me a long time to get away from what I would call stoic. Like I thought, never share your feelings, don't talk about it, just, suck it up and be
mhm.
tough. Now, it doesn't work great in relationships.
Yeah,
I mean, I met my wife and she wants to talk about stuff, and I'd be like, no, I'm not talking about it. And some of that
right.
comes from me growing up, right? My parents divorced, so I thought conflict was bad. Like, so if
Mm,
we fought, that means we were going to get a divorce. That's just what
right.
I thought. And so you kind of have to learn to have productive conflict and allow yourself to have feelings. And I think it's not just one feeling. Like men think like the only feeling I have is anger. That's just not true, right? And I try to teach people that feelings aren't bad, right?
Mm,
Fear is not bad. It's just a feeling and it's just a message. Like can we make friends with our fear and understand the information it's giving us? It's not bad. And then hurt, I think, is a really tough one for men, to say I'm
yeah,
hurt, because I think we skip
yeah,
over fear and hurt and we go to anger. Like anger's
right,
okay, but a lot of times underneath the anger is hurt. Someone hurt
right.
my feelings. So what do I want to do? I want to strike back, an eye for an eye, or I'm afraid. And so I react in anger. But what if we just said, what you said just really hurt my feelings?
Right. So do you think a lot of men react in aggressive ways because they don't know how to process what they're actually feeling, or maybe they're not even aware what they're actually feeling?
I think it's both. I mean, awareness is where we start, right? And I think I just try to tell people you don't have to do anything, but let's start with awareness. Can you be aware
Mm,
of your five, like I'll say five core emotions, right? Fear, hurt, anger, sadness, joy. Now, everyone just thinks I just want to feel joy and I want to feel any of the other ones, but
yeah.
that's not really possible. Like, what if we just said they're all just feelings?
Mm,
Nothing wrong with them. They just are. And I try to coach people too. Like if someone asks you, "Are you afraid?" Like, what do you? Everyone always wants to say, "No, I'm not afraid."
yeah.
We're always afraid. Like that's
Or
such a
yeah.
lie. Like, are you afraid? Everyone's like, "No, I'm not afraid. Why would I be afraid?" Blah blah blah. And just the response is fear based
Yeah.
instead of just being, "Of course I'm afraid," but let's think in terms of a 1 to a 10.
Right.
There's no zero. That's impossible. There's no zero. We're always feeling. I say, like, there's this tornado that's going on inside of me. All these feelings. I don't have to express them. That's my choice. But gosh, with awareness, I do think, like you said, it's a superpower. Because if I'm aware of what's going on in here, when I walk into a room, when I meet someone, I understand way more about them because I know
Mm,
more about me. That's
mm.
superpower.
Yeah. So you're saying the more you understand yourself, the more you get a handle on your emotions, the more you're going to kind of connect with others in a sense.
100%. You have that empathy, but I have to start off showing empathy for myself first.
Right.
And then I
Yeah,
feel
because
it with
how can
other people.
how can you feel empathy for someone else unless you empathize with yourself? Or yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I think it's super important in all aspects. Like I used to tell the story about, when I was running my own business and walking into a meeting with all my managers, and just for some reason walking in and feeling like I hate all these people, like I want to kill them all. Like you ever just feel like you walk in a room, you're like, why do I want to kill everyone in this room right
All the
now?
time. All the
And
time. It happened
but
this
it
afternoon
wasn't
at my
because
yoga
they
class.
and it wasn't because they did anything. So I literally sat down and I was just kind of like, why am I feeling so angry right now? And I had to literally like think about like tracking back in my day. Like here I am right now. All right, let me track back. Like, why am I so angry? So track back. Oh, okay, did this, I did this, I did this, track myself. And then I was like, came to a point where like, oh, like someone had said something to me that really hurt my feelings. And I didn't
Mm,
really acknowledge it at the time, but now I track. I'm like, oh, okay. So, my feelings got hurt. So I'm carrying that. So now I'm like, okay, now I got it. And then boom, now I'm back here in the moment and I'm not hating everyone. I can
right.
be back present in this meeting and kind of be like, okay, what am I trying to accomplish in this meeting? And what's my intention? Instead of like, why am I, hating on everyone? I didn't have to say anything. I just had to become aware.
Yeah. So what does strength mean to you today compared to what it used to mean to you? Because your appearance is very strong. You've got the muscles going on.
Right.
So what does strength mean to you today compared to what it meant years and years ago?
I mean, that's a really interesting question because, the way I look, like when I was growing up as a kid, I was kind of a mama's boy and I
Mm,
was very sensitive, right? And very emotional. And I think there was a point in my life around seventh grade, eighth grade, where I got into sports and I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. Like
okay.
literally, like I'm not doing emotions anymore. Like kids made too much fun of
Mm,
me. I was kind of a baby, and people called me a mama's boy. So then it's like, okay, time to get in the gym, time to play sports, and just put that shit away. The problem
right.
is when you put it away, you also put to get, away some passion, some problem solving, some creativity. I used
Yeah.
to write a lot. I used to write poems. I mean, and I just was like, fuck that. I'm going to be an athlete and be different. And that either or is really a negative thing. So I mean, back then I absolutely thought that to be strong, you just never showed any feeling. You never showed any weakness. You never showed fear or fear or sadness or hurt for sure. And now I mean, think of the word courage, right? And what is courage? Like, what's the definition of courage? I mean, it's
Like breaking through your fear, just doing it.
yes. So if I said to you that I'm never afraid, then you would say to me, then I guess you can
Bullshit.
never be. You can no, but well, you'd say bullshit, yeah, because we're having this conversation. But you'd also say then you can never be courageous.
Okay. Because
If
they're
you never
opposing.
have fear, you never would face it. You never say, I'm courageous because I faced my fear. Well, I just told you I don't have fear. So that's the bullshit in it. We all have fear. Public
Yeah.
speaking is a huge fear that everyone has,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
It's
think
true.
of courage, like the concept of courage means facing your fear and doing it anyway. Exactly what you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
So
I
if
know
we can just socialize it a little more.
some of the most experienced speakers in the world have anxiety and fear every single time before they go on a large stage. Every single time.
100%. And I actually think if you didn't, then it's not important.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah. No,
mean?
it's
Like
true.
if
That
you
fire in your belly and in your
yeah,
that butterfly feeling, it's so uncomfortable, but it's so exhilarating.
100%, 100%. So I do think if we can just recontextualize it and say there's nothing wrong with these feelings, it's just energy, right? But I still get to choose how I want to be. But if
Yeah.
I'm aware of all these things going on, I can use that energy and direct it the way I want to instead of feeling, you know, in reaction to it. Like I don't have control over it or it's acting upon me versus I have all these feelings. I still get to choose how I want to be. And that's kind of like, I had a coach one time tell me, like, everyone talks about, oh, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. That kind of excuse, like, oh, it's going to be a shitty
Right.
day. And he kind of said, he's like, listen, it doesn't matter how you feel. You still get to choose how you want to be in the world,
Right.
regardless of how you feel. You don't become your feelings. You know what I mean? You don't become fear. You don't become hurt, although sometimes we feel like that,
Yeah.
but just identifying it, we can kind of tame it and then decide what do we want to do?
Yeah. So you shut down all of your feelings to get into sports and essentially man up is what you did. So
Totally,
what did
totally.
it
People
take
talk
to
about that. Yeah, man up, 100%.
man up? So you manned up, quote unquote, manned up. What did it take for you to unlearn that message, or when did you stop that?
It's a great question. I mean, when my wife and I got engaged, she's like, hey, let's go see a premarital counselor, right? And I was like,
Okay.
are you kidding me? Like, seriously, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, because now people talk about coaches and people have coaches and it's a great thing. But back then it was like, you have to be kind of fucked up. Like, I mean, there's something wrong if you're going to go see a
Right.
therapist or see a
Right.
coach.
That was the
Like,
stigma. Yeah.
oh yeah. So she's like, and I was like, is there a secret? Like, is there, like, I was literally like, there's got to be some secret you're
Paranoid.
afraid to tell me, or there's a skeleton in the closet. And so, like, this is going to come out. Like, before we're getting married, we're going to go see this guy. And I swear to you, I mean, I walked
You're
in like,
questioning every decision
no,
now.
I was sitting in the meeting like this, like leaning back, like
Closed
this is
off.
bullshit. Yeah, no, I swear. But I did it. I mean, I always say my wife's the best salesperson in our family. She got me to go. But I mean, good news was we had a really good counselor, Dr. Bob, and it was amazing. Like he started telling me about myself, and I was
Mm,
like, how would you ever know that? I haven't said anything to you. Like he started talking about how my childhood probably, oh, you're the oldest, blah, 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 and telling me all these things. So he got my attention right
right.
away. And I was kind of like, this is really crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this is crazy. So, and he gave us a project so that, my rational mind gave us a project like, so we're going to plan your wedding as you did the first project of you guys together as a married couple. So we're going to plan it. We're going to actually pick the readings and make them meaningful, pick the music, really plan the ceremony. So, I mean, it was a very conscious, like this is our kind of first project together as we're going
Right.
into marriage that sets the tone then for the rest of our life. So we
Yeah.
had a project, which was super helpful. And that kind of got me on a path, I'd say, of starting to do social emotional intelligence, starting to explore. And I wasn't terribly open, in the beginning. But then, I think, I'm marrying this woman and she wants to talk about stuff. And I'm like, I'm not talking about it. I'm going to bed. I mean, it wasn't a great strategy.
Right.
So then she decided to go and start doing some deeper work and went into kind of like a group, like a lab. And I watched her change. I
Mm,
watched her become more alive. I watched her become more confident. I watched her. And honestly, I did it out of reactivity in the beginning because I'm like, she's on this train and this train is leaving the station and I will be left behind
right.
if I'm not growing and if I'm not changing and if I'm not joining in. So in the beginning, I was like, well, I got to do this. I don't want to do it, but I got to do it. And then over time, it became more about me then and owning it for me. Like, I want to be the best person I can be. I want to maximize my potential. I want to be a good husband. And then we had children. And of course, we had two daughters. You know,
Oh, that'll teach you how to get, that'll teach you emotional stuff for sure.
right?
That's your
I
school. You
mean,
don't need to go to any emotional class. Just have some daughters.
but it was a total gift. And I think there was a lot that I realized, like, what kind of man did I want to model for my daughters? And I wanted
Yeah,
to, you know, I'll get emotional just talking about it. Like, I wanted to model an emotional man.
yeah,
A tough man. Like, let's talk about old model. I'm not saying throw away the old model, because there are times when you want to be John Wayne and you want to be tough and you want to go into battle, but not all the time.
yeah,
And with my wife, when I was with my daughters, there was a way I wanted them to see I'm not a robot. I'm not a
yeah,
rock. Like, I have feelings. I am emotional. I do care about things. Everyone's afraid. Because otherwise, they started out thinking, like, Dad's not afraid of anything, right?
yeah.
Dad's never hurt. Dad never has problems. Dad's never
Oh,
scared.
I used
And
to think that about my father. Yep.
right, but it's not really fair, right? And
Yeah.
so we played this game called the feelings game. So, like, when the kids were young, like at dinner, we played the feelings game, and we would all go around and share, like, during the day today, here's where I felt afraid, here's where I felt hurt, here's where I felt anger, here's where I felt sadness, and here's where I felt joy. So we
Mm,
started socializing, like, yeah, Dad, here's where I was afraid today. Here's where I got
right.
hurt today. Here's where I felt sad today. Here's where I felt angry today. Here's where I felt joy. So then, I mean, I think my girls, I mean, my daughters are almost 27. My youngest and my oldest is 29, and they're awesome.
Mm,
They're awesome. I mean, they were trained from a young age that feelings are okay. They're great friends. They're great people. They work hard, you know, and they had a head start on that I never had.
yeah. And the saying is that most women grow up and the first relationship, especially, is someone that's exactly like their father.
Totally.
No
And I didn't want it to be like
pressure. No
the old
pressure.
father. I wanted to be like the new father, right? I mean, and I do want to. I mean, because there's a lot of people talk now about toxic masculinity and all that,
Yeah.
and I just think it can be both. You can have the old model, and like I said, like, guys are guys, right? But then there's the new model. It's together. It's not. You're not going to throw that out. Like, I'm a guy, right? Like, Jelly Roll, right? The singer.
Yeah.
He has this song called "The Same Asshole," and I tell my
Okay.
wife that it's kind of like my theme song. Like, sometimes I'm just going to be the same asshole. Like, I
Right.
just am. But accept me. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be
Yeah.
and I am a good man, but sometimes I'm going to be an asshole. Like,
Hmm.
no one's perfect. So can we bring the truly competitive, masculine part, but also the sensitive, protective, father,
Yeah, there's
right?
a time and place for both of them. The trouble is when one of those gets suppressed. And that's what's happening in our world is men aren't expressing their emotions and they're committing suicide and they're ending their lives, like left and right and center, and nobody has a clue. And
Right.
so that's what's really scary to me is that from the outside it looks like everything is fine, but inside of their minds they're just seething.
I couldn't agree more, and that's why I kind of, have been participating in Movember for another number of years. Obviously, I'm not growing a mustache because I already have but there's other things to do with Movember, and so my beard, I grow it long and proud, but also, the suicide prevention thing is a big thing, and that's why I wore this T-shirt. Help! Like,
Yeah.
I know six grown men that have committed suicide, and that's too
Wow.
many. I mean, that's too many. For me to know that many grown adults that have committed suicide, like, two from my high school, once we were out of high school, not in high school, later, after being married, after being divorced, after having kids, my
Wow.
cousin who was older, and then three people here in Chicago. One guy I coached soccer with for had to be 7 years. And we were friends. I saw him twice a week for 7 years in the summer. His daughter, my daughter, they were great friends. And no one expected it.
Wow.
No, I mean, he would come to my office, he'd come to happy hours. He was so supportive, always happy. And then he killed himself. And the
Wow.
whole community was shocked.
That would
And that
shake
just
the
goes,
community for sure.
and that just goes to show you like what we don't know. So part of my Movember this month is also reaching out to people. Like when I think of someone, send them a text. I think of someone, I call someone, I talk to someone. I'm trying to talk to someone every day. Just
Yeah.
'cause you don't know. Like, and it takes 10 seconds to send someone a text. Hey, thinking about you. Hey,
Yeah.
hope you're well. And you don't know when you're going to catch someone. I had a friend, I had called him one time and he's not the kind of person that would cry. And he just was very upset about something and cried on the phone. And he was apologizing over and over. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to apologize to me about crying. I cry all the time. Like I watch
Yeah.
commercials, I cry, right? But he
Right.
later told me that, I mean, he was thinking about taking his life.
Wow.
And we just had this, I mean, chance conversation, let's say, that just helped him. And he still thanks me for it. And I had no
Mm,
idea. I had no
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, it takes a second. And I think we forget that. I think we're all stuck in our own little ego worlds, and we think we judge people based on their appearance, how they might look. So someone may look like they have it all together. Their social media looks brilliant and it looks like they've got everything they could ever want and imagine. And then
100%.
we judge them, and then we don't ask those questions because we're like, oh, you're so fine that you don't need to be asked how you're doing. And that's like most leaders face that as well. Not a lot of people ask leaders
Totally.
how they're doing because they're expected to just be fine all the time, but we're all the same.
We are. We all, I like, everyone used to say, everyone puts their pants on, one leg at a time or whatever, we're all kind of the same. And I think to kind of get away from the conditioning, like something's wrong with me
Yeah,
because I have feelings. Like I thought as a kid, like something was wrong with me. I felt things too deeply. And I
right.
really believe that. And one of my daughters she feels things so deeply and she kind of thought, something's wrong with her. And I mean, I don't want to necessarily get into this one deeply, but nowadays everyone just talks about anxiety and here's a drug and you don't learn to deal with life and it's dealing with feelings because here's a pill and then you're not and then it goes away and she kind of felt like there's something wrong with her because she wasn't taking a pill.
Right.
I mean, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that is messed up. I remember in my 20s, went to the doctor, told the doctor I was struggling with anxiety, got put on medication, and I felt like a zombie. I felt like a walking zombie. Nothing was fun. Nothing was awful. It was just like I was dead. And then
Yeah.
when I got off of the medication, that's when I started to feel the emotions again. And that could be overwhelming in itself, but we are taught to put that away. And that's scary.
It is. I mean, I mean, life is emotional. I mean, life is not easy. Life is stressful.
Oh,
So if
yeah.
we don't learn how to deal with it, and it takes a ton of self-care, right?
Yeah.
It takes a team, and it means you need to build a support team because it takes a lot. And think about you were saying about leaders, and I ran my own company. I was a CEO. I couldn't talk to anyone in my company. I couldn't be like, "Hey, I'm really feeling afraid today. I think our company's not going to make it." Like, I mean, you can't say that. Like, everyone will quit. Like, so you have to have this kind of confidence and this unconflicted consciousness that we're the best and everything's going to work out, and not lying, but to be like, we can do this, like we can do this. But to be able to do that, I had to have a whole team. I had a coach. I had a mentor. I had my wife. I had friends, because I always say, like, when you go to work, especially as a leader, and we're all leaders, but let's just say the CEO of a company, I had to go to work full. And when I say full, I had to go to work feeling affirmed. I had to go to work feeling all not, let's just say it this way, not hungry. Because I think
Right.
if I went to work feeling hungry, like and thinking my employees are going to affirm me, and my clients are going to affirm me, and my partners are going to affirm me, that's the wrong way to look at it. I have to go to work feeling full so I can affirm my employees. I can affirm my customers. I can affirm all my partners and make them feel great because
Yeah.
I'm already full. Well, that takes a lot of planning and
Yeah.
whatever, enough sleep, eat well, exercise, but have a support team around you because sometimes you're not going to feel that way and you forget. Like, why am I doing this? What am I doing? I forgot my vision. I forgot where I'm going. And sometimes you need that person to be like, hey, let's remember where you're going.
Yeah. 100%. So when you started acknowledging that you were a man with emotions again, how did that change your life?
You know, I felt more real.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, I said to one of the leadership groups, I'm 60 now, but when I was 56, like I said to one of my leadership groups, I said, don't wait till you're 56 to let people know who you are. Because we all kind of have imposter syndrome and we all think
Yeah.
we're not good enough. But if we can be real, right? And just like I have feelings, I have doubts, I have imposter syndrome. I've accomplished a lot in my life and I
Yeah.
still have imposter syndrome and make it feel okay. And, you know, you kind of have this happily ever after thing, which I think is very funny about, getting married. Like if you watch, cartoons and the movies, they live
Oh my
happily
God.
ever after. But I
I'm gonna
mean,
vomit thinking about it.
right? But the work starts when you get married.
Yeah.
That's when it starts. And I have entrepreneurs ask me, like, Rich, when does it get easier? And when am I not going to feel afraid? And I said, never. Like, if
Yeah.
you're growing your business, you're going to have more employees, more customers, big, huge opportunities, a lot of exciting things. But that also means bigger problems and more
Yeah.
stress every day. So when I was thinking about social emotional intelligence, like, I had to grow me along with my business because I
Yeah.
had to grow my capacity to deal with a lot of stress, a lot of scary stuff, a lot more employees, a lot more customers. And I could, but I had to consciously grow it. And I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't get less stressful.
Yeah.
And I think
So
that's about life. I think that's not just about a business. Like our lives get more complicated. Like I think all of us would be like, oh, well, actually wouldn't love to do it. But I mean, we always think back, like, think if I knew now, back when I was in high school, if I knew what I knew now, like I would have, woo, gone crazy.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's hard to look back and think that, but we all say that. I said it a million times. What about the men out there that are on their own? Maybe they don't have a family and wife. Like,
Yeah.
what would you say to those men?
I mean, I think you kind of have to find your people, if that makes sense. And it doesn't mean you have to have a big group. I mean, we all, have these concentric circles and overlapping circles of friend groups, and you might have like the social friend group and you might play sports with some guys, but can you find someone that um, you can kind of go deep with, right?
Mm.
And tell the truth too. And I think part of the issue is you have to do it to find out. And that
Right.
could be a risk. And I think, when I stopped drinking and when I, started doing, more social emotional intelligence, I did lose some friends. People just
Yeah.
weren't interested in this new Rich, if I could
Right.
say that right, because I was changing. I was becoming more aware. I was becoming more conscious. Nourishment was a different thing. Like I wanted to be involved in nourishing conversations. I wanted to be
Yeah.
around people who I could have, be real with instead of being fake. And I was used to being fake, right?
Yeah.
And not being vulnerable. So I think it's hard. I mean, I think having a coach is a really good thing. Like it kind of saved me a lot to be able to sometimes go in. Like I can remember going into my coach, I'm running a company, we were over $50 million. I mean, we had, 350, 400 people, and sometimes going in and just crying and being
Right.
like, I don't I don't know what I'm doing. And sometimes you just don't feel like you know what you're doing. And
For
just
the
being
most part, I feel like nobody knows really what they're doing. It may appear that they know what they're doing, but I was looking around in my yoga class today and everyone was just in their own little worlds. And I was just imagining what they were thinking. And it was like, everyone is literally just trying to make it by. If somebody has it all figured out, you find that person, I want to interview them.
I agree with you. No, I agree with you. But if we can start admitting,
Yes,
of course I'm
that's the
afraid.
difference. That's the difference.
Of course I'm scared. Of course I get my feelings hurt. Like I'm just normal. But
Yeah.
if we can then tell ourselves like that's okay and affirm
Mm,
ourselves, like it's not bad that I'm afraid. Instead, it's like, oh, isn't that cool? Like think about the different perspective. Like when I mean, think about how you would treat a young child who says I'm afraid, and you'd be like, oh, that's cool. Like, what are you afraid about?
yeah.
Or oh, you got your feelings hurt. What happened? Wow, aren't you brave? Like that's amazing. Well, can we actually talk to ourselves that way instead of
Yeah.
like you're a loser,
Yeah.
right? What's wrong with you? Like, why do you
Right.
have all these doubts? No, we all have doubts, but that's why we can be courageous because we're facing those fears and doing it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you think needs to change in the world to be able to talk about men's emotions and for men to talk about their emotions in the workplace with their families and in friendships?
Yeah, I think Movember does a great job and there's a lot of resources on their site. Now it's only 1 month a year, which isn't enough, but I think it starts some conversations and they have groups and you can reach out and you can get support. And I think that's probably maybe the hardest thing, is reaching out for support.
Yeah.
No one wants to do it, and you almost have to have a rhythm because when it gets hard, you won't do it. So you almost have to have a rhythm to do it when things are good so that
Right.
you'll keep doing it. You know what I mean? Because
So like
when
a
I'm
weekly
down,
call with
I'm not
someone or
calm.
something?
Pardon me.
A weekly call perhaps with
Yeah.
someone?
I mean, I have a friend of mine and we talk almost every day,
Yeah.
and it's just if we didn't, one of us would notice.
Mm,
So do you have a rhythm? And I have other people I talk to every week, and I'm involved in, I'm leading leadership groups that meet every 3 weeks, and I have 4 leadership groups. So some structure is really good because
yeah.
I don't think any of us are, trustworthy to do it otherwise, especially if we're going down a hole. We're
Yeah.
not. I mean, at least I'm not. Maybe other people are better than me. But I mean, if I'm in a hole, I'm not calling someone and being like, I'm in a hole.
It
But if
was
I was already talking to people and I'm gonna be in this meeting because it's already scheduled and then I have this other meeting because it's already scheduled, well, I'm not gonna bail out on that. It's already in, right? So I
right.
think structure helps that. And then I think awareness, like can we, you know, as human beings, can we just, I mean, my big thing is, part of my purpose, I feel like, is can I make people more aware? Because
Right.
I think with awareness comes choice.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think we're all too busy, and I'm great at it. I always say, like, I got married so I could blame my wife for everything, and I'm a great, I can be a great blamer. I mean, we kid around now, but I mean, think about it like we talk a lot about intention and being intentional and being aware, but I always tell people like if you want to know your intention, look around you.
Mm, yeah.
Like you have intentionally created your life now, consciously or unconsciously, regardless, you have created your life right now. So can we then be more conscious so we're consciously creating it instead of maybe unconsciously or reactively creating it? But if you want something different in your life, you have to change it. I have to change it. Like I can complain all I want, but if I want it to be different, I have to change it.
Yeah. You have to
No
do
one else.
differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a Saturday. I was by myself. I didn't have much going on, and I was super emotional. I was sitting on my recliner, and out of the blue, a psychiatrist that I work with the show messaged me to ask me how I was doing. And he said, "Would you want to have a quick chat? I'm checking up on you." And I'm bawling my eyes out, and I'm typing, "No, no, that's okay. Everything is fine." And then I stop myself, and I'm like, the universe literally just delivered you a psychiatrist in the middle of a crisis, and you're going
That's
to say
amazing.
no to this? So then I said, "You're calling this person." So I jumped on the phone, and it was so out of my comfort zone, and I felt so awkward about it, but I felt so much better afterwards.
Oh, that's amazing. And if we could remember, I think the after, because sometimes like that cry, the cathartic release, I feel so good after. Like it's almost
Yeah.
like a spiritual experience, and I feel so clear and calm after. And I didn't die.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the most powerful lesson about you've learned about being human through writing Life is Sales?
That's a great question. I mean, I think, maybe I think the most powerful thing about being human is that we're all on a journey.
Mm,
I had the opportunity with my book to be able to write about my journey,
mm,
through all my trials and tribulations, through all my growth, through all the times where I thought I knew exactly what I should be doing, but I didn't. And things happen, like you're saying, someone calls you or something happens, and in the moment you're like, this sucks. And then later it's like, that was perfect. And I think,
yeah.
we talk about in my family, we talk about EWAP, everything works out perfectly.
Mm,
But
I
that
like
takes
that.
big trust, and I think maybe the biggest thing that I've learned is to choose to trust. And that EWAP is kind of like everything works out perfectly, but it doesn't always look the way I think it should.
Yeah, totally.
Because I'm like, I'm going this way, and then something happens this way, and then later on, I'm like, oh, that was great, but I thought I was going this way. And I do
Yeah.
think, trust is such a critical, like I've chosen in my life, because I grew up, my parents divorced. It was kind of a chaotic environment. My mom was 21 when she had me.
Okay.
I was born on, Michigan State University, East Lansing. My parents were both students. And I just always thought, chaos, right? So I felt like I'm going to control everything and bring it, and I alleviate tension. I was always like the good kid. I could tell a joke, like, bring it all together and that kind of thing. But, my belief was like something bad was going to happen. Like, that kind of other shoe's going to drop. Like, just wait
Yeah.
for it. Like, it's going to
Yeah.
come. Wait for it. And I kind of had to change, and the world isn't, think about all these beliefs we develop. The world's not for me. The world doesn't want me to get what I want. Like all this shit, right? When you start unpacking those, beliefs and just I choose now, and that choice is like a moment by moment thing because it changes, right? Because stuff happens. But I choose to trust that the world is a safe place.
Mm,
I choose to trust that people want the best for me. I choose to trust that people are good people.
right.
Now, that doesn't mean that always happens,
No,
right?
you're right.
But at the same time, I also choose to trust that I can take care of myself now. I'm
Mm,
not that little kid. Sometimes my mental thinking is I'm that little kid who's can't protect himself. So I can choose to trust people and I could get burned, but that's okay. I can take care of myself and I still then choose to trust people because
right.
that's my belief. I would rather live in a world where I trust people versus I don't trust anyone and I
Yeah.
just go around not trusting anyone. I'd rather trust everyone. And yeah, maybe
Hmm.
I get burned a little bit, but that's the world I want. That's me
Yeah.
choosing what I want. So I think, that's made a huge difference for me instead of being like so risk averse. Like, come on. I can take care of myself. I have a ton of resources. So why not live
Hmm.
in a world where I like people? I like talking to people. Life is sales, I talk about in the book, like what a gift to be able to meet people.
Mm-hmm.
What a gift to be able to serve people. Like sales is really truly about service. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to sell a product or, I'm not trying to sell consulting. I'm trying to help you.
Mm-hmm.
What a gift. If I could be a blessing to you and help you, and if I can't help you, if I can, let me introduce you to someone else who I think can help you. Wow, that's great. I love that life.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Tell us more about what you do and where people can find you.
Sure, sure. I have the two websites at lifeissales.com. You can read about, we do have a sales training program. Like we train salespeople, we have videos and support groups and one-on-one coaching for salespeople. I also lead leadership groups, like I was talking about. We meet every 3 weeks for 2 hours, and it's super fun. We have men and women in our
Mm,
group, and it's super fun, the interaction. And you kind of form a cohort that can support
right.
you like we're talking about. You can reach out to anyone. There's 8 people. You can reach out to anyone at any time and talk about anything. So I love that. And then my book, I just launched Life is Sales, my book. So that's all kind of on the Life is Sales site. There's also the richlyons.com site, but that's more about me putting out some free content, free things personally about, kind of my beliefs, some free videos and things like that. But um, that's kind of it. I'm going to start writing. I actually am almost done writing my second book, which will be about culture, because I believe culture is very important to businesses.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, last question. If you could rewrite the definition of a successful man, what would you say? What would it be?
uh, I would say that he's a lover.
Mm,
I mean, I really believe that. I mean, I think, you know, nothing beats working hard. I mean, nothing beats working hard. I mean, we can, I think, all choose to outwork someone and be successful, and success is still important. I mean, I'm not taking away from, business success, financial success. Money's great, but I think life is about relationships. And I think, I value my relationships, more than my things, right? I value the people in my life, more than the things. I value the experiences I have with these people I love. I mean,
mm,
that's the best thing about my life. So I think success for me is that, having great people that I love around me and having great experiences with them. I was at the gym the other day. It's funny you asked this. My wife just turned 60 as well. And he said, like, he was like, I was meeting with this older gentleman who's very successful and has, planes and helicopters and whatever. And I asked him, how would you define success for your life? And he was like, it's not the money, it's not the airplanes. He's like, success for me is that my grown children want to spend time with me.
aw, yeah,
Isn't that a
I can't
crazy answer?
imagine.
Like, I thought that was
Well,
a crazy answer, but I thought it was beautiful.
well, you hear the stories of people being on their deathbed, and the last thing they say is, "Oh, I wish I had my airplane." It's like I wish I had one more hug from someone I loved.
Right. Yeah, they never say that. Like, oh, I wish I worked harder. I wish I had more money. I
Yeah,
mean, they're always like, I wish I had more time. And I have
yeah,
a dear friend whose wife passed away. Um, I guess it was just over 3 years ago. And he tells everyone, he's like, hold hands.
yeah.
He's like, what? I mean, he says like, what I would give for just another day, with my wife and to be able to hold her hand. So he's like, hold hands, like just hold hands.
Mm, yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, being vulnerable, and supporting other men in this crazy world right now. I love that it's Movember and we can talk about men's mental health. But I
Me
think
too.
we need to talk about it all the time.
Yeah, I think so too. Thanks so much for having me. I mean, I love the conversation and thank you for helping to get more people to pay attention.
Yes, I look forward to the next one. And to our audience, anybody out there who's struggling, mental health is a real thing. So please do not take it lightly. Reach out to someone. And if you're feeling good, put your head up and look around and talk to someone. Ask them how they're doing. These little things help in such big ways. You have no idea the difference you make just by saying hello to someone or even just smiling in someone's direction. Take care, everyone.